Let's talk with Eric Pincus. He is a writer, basketball writer for the LA Times, and also for basketballinsiders.com. Eric, thanks for joining the show.
Gentlemen, thanks for having me.
Eric, what are the Lakers going to do?
What are the Lakers going to do? That's a good question. Number 2 pick. They really lucked out. They have a shot at probably Jahlil Okafor, considering that Karl Anthony Towns is likely to go to Minnesota. But, you know, maybe Minnesota does something different, so maybe Towns. Another guy they could go with is D'Angelo Russell from Ohio State. Really nice guard. Says he wants to be the next Steph Curry. The Lakers have to consider, do you go with this modern small ball league and go with the D'Angelo Russell, or do you go traditional and go big man with the Jahlil Okafor?
Which would you prefer if you were in charge of it?
Okay, well, you look at the history of the Lakers, right? Every time, of course, they had Kobe, and yes, they need to replace Kobe, and they had Magic, one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time. But every title, you go back, Mikan, right? Wilt, Shaq, Powell, Andrew Bynum, Kareem, and did I leave out one? Kwame Brown. Hey, everybody. Okay, maybe not Kwame Brown, but that's how the Lakers have won every time. They've always had one of the best big men in the league. So I think they got to go with Okafor because he is the real deal offensively. They need to figure out, can he play defense? And if not, and if he can't, let's say he can't play defense, fine. You get someone else next to him at power forward who can. So I think they go big, but if Russell, if they see in Russell that this kid is really the next star as a guard, maybe the next Curry, maybe the next Harden, and for them the next Kobe, I could see them doing it. But that's going to be, it's really hard to get another Jahlil Okafor anywhere else.
Hey, Eric, who's making the decisions there? Is it Kupchak, the GM?
Yeah. Kupchak makes the decisions. Jim Buss is in the same role as Dr. Jerry Buss, who passed some years ago, where they consult, they talk, and of course ownership has to empower Mitch Kupchak. But Mitch said that the two of them don't really disagree. They usually come into the situation with the same opinions. Kupchak has a big staff. They've got Ryan West, who some say is being groomed to be the next GM of the Lakers. That's Jerry West's kid. They have Jesse Buss. They've got a ton of great people who have been around the league for a long time. Actually, Jordan Wilkes, Jamal Wilkes' son, is on that team of basketball ops staff. And they all give opinions to Mitch Kupchak. But Mitch says that the decision is ultimately his, and he's going to have to make it soon. Not a lot of time left on that clock.
All guests like Eric Pincus are brought to you by Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Any chance DeMarcus Cousins?
Well, sure. Any chance is broad. I mean, the big issue here, obviously, is not George Karl, because I think George Karl would trade him to the Lakers in a second. I think it's ownership. I'm going to go by his first name, Vivek, right? Because I get the last name wrong all the time.
Ranadiv.
All right, thank you, Ranadiv.
Sure.
All right, and the owner of the Kings, from what I understand, is beholden to Cousins, believes in him, thinks that he's someone that this team will be successful building around. And I'm not sure that's the case. I think ultimately the Sacramento Kings DeMarcus Cousins story ends badly. But I'm not the owner. He's the one who has to make the decision, and I don't believe right now he's willing to make this trade to let go of Cousins. I don't think he'll let go of Cousins this offseason, but I do think at some point that will end. And maybe this is the best opportunity right now. If you can get an Okafor or a Russell, or if they could get a three-way trade going on with another team to get something else that they want, in case they don't want any of those young guys, they want someone more seasoned. Now is a great opportunity for them to make a move, and I think George Karl sees that. I would argue that Vlade Divac, who's now in charge of that team, as far as essentially a general manager type position, I bet he considers it a good move as well. But you got to convince ownership, and the owners, in this case, sometimes they won't budge, and I'm not sure that they do in Sacramento.
I've been told by people I know in Sacramento, though, if they trade within the division after all they've gone through the last 9 years, and Vlade, as I pointed out yesterday, Vlade's already responsible for a bunch of LA Lakers championship because he was the guy that was traded so that the Lakers could get Kobe Bryant. Does he want to be the guy that actually helps the Lakers win more championships?
It's a funny question. I mean, he also has that assist to Robert Horry, right? He gave him a nice tip out.
Sure.
Robert hit that big shot. So ultimately, divisions are going away. Speaking to Commissioner Adam Silver over around the finals, I think over the next year or two, there are no more divisions. So there still is a rivalry, at least in the minds of Sacramento. I don't think the Lakers consider the Kings a rival, but I think it goes the other way around. Realistically, you have to make the best move for your team regardless of what else happens otherwise. If Cousins goes to the Bucks, if he goes to the Knicks, if he goes to, I'm just throwing out any team, the Warriors, which is not that I think that that's going to happen. No rumors here, please, Twitter. I'm just saying if he goes to a rival that's so close in the same Northern California area, the Kings can't worry about that. They have to find a way to be the best team that they can be, and you can't worry about what happens with the players that you trade off. If it helps the Lakers short term or long term, so be it. But the Kings need to be something special, and to be honest, they haven't been. They were back when they had the Chris Webber, Vlade Divac's team that went and really gave the Lakers a challenge, but that never won a title, that squad. And right now they're just, to me, they're walking in place or jogging even backwards. So I think they should make a move with Cousins. I just don't think the owner's ready to do so.
Les and I have been appointed by the Nuggets to be in charge of making deals behind the scenes and under the table and with other media people. So we've got a couple of guys here that would really help the Lakers. We've got Ty Lawson, who needs a change of scenery and a change of underwear. And we've got Kenneth Faried, a really high-energy guy. We've got a 7th-round pick here. It seems to me like that would be just so enticing.
Showtime, Eric. You're going to have Showtime all over again. 2 guys who can run the floor.
Tell me why I'm stupid.
No, you're not stupid. I think Lawson has a lot to offer offensively. He's a really good penetrating guard and scores. One of the few guys in the league who can average almost or near 10 assists a game. Defensively, he's tiny. He's not even 6 feet tall. Faried is an undersigned power forward. I like him. I'm not sure that he'll be that much better than Julius Randle when Julius Randle evolves and becomes something. Obviously, Julius Randle's a rookie. Even though he had a rookie season, he got hurt in that first game. So I'm not sure you say that's a major upgrade. It might be. And there's something to be said about going with an established player. You know what Faried is. And if you saw what he did with Team USA, he was fantastic. As far as the Lakers, what would they have to give up for all that? That's the difficult part, because I don't see them giving up that number 2 pick for those particular guys. I think they want a guy like Cousins, who you can argue is a top 10 guy. Some would say he's top 7. I don't know where on that list Cousins is, but I know that Faried and Lawson aren't top 10. Maybe you could say Lawson's top 30, maybe. Faried top 50, top 40. We could debate all that, but I just don't know if that's enough. If the Lakers are giving up Randle, if they're giving up some of their cap room to do that, you can argue that, but giving up that number 2 pick, I don't think they go there.
Yeah, Eric, you brought up something really interesting that we haven't heard before. At the beginning of this conversation, you mentioned that they might forego the big guy at number 2 and go for the point guard. Let's face it. You're in Hollywood. You need to put on a good entertainment product out there. Showtime, back in the day, was driven by a 6'8" point guard, 6'9" point guard named Magic Johnson. You've got D'Angelo Russell and Moutier, who are both big point guards with good handles and great court vision, who pass the ball very, very well. It would not be shocking to me if the Lakers tried to reprise Showtime, tried to get that big point guard in there, and overlooked Okafor. That's really, really interesting, because you tell me, let's say they keep the number 2, they go after the big guy Okafor. So they've got Okafor, they've got Julius Randle coming back from injury, and they've got Kobe. Is that enough? Is that enough Showtime? Is that enough possibility to get back to the playoffs and put on a good product?
Well, the problem with Kobe is that he's at the end of his career. And talking to Byron Scott, it sounds like they're thinking somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 minutes a game max for Kobe, and then also probably sitting back-to-back. So that could be something like 65 games out of Kobe a year, and not the typical 45 minutes that he's always played or whatever it is throughout his career. When you talk about that star power, I actually think that D'Angelo Russell has that personality. He's got a swagger, kind of a cockiness about him that's not off-putting. And so that's there. I think Moutier is probably a little bit lower on the Lakers list between the 2 guards. I think that they don't trust Moutier's shooting, and Russell can shoot, and he can pass, and he's a good personality. So they have to consider that, and consider that a Showtime possibility. But if they are going big, and you've got Okafor, and you've got, you got to remember they have Jordan Clarkson. We're not exactly sure what he is. We know that he was a very good player last year, top 5 rookie on a terrible team. So we have to see, can he be a good player on a good team? But we can't forget the Lakers have about $22 million to spend this summer. So it's not just those players alone. If they go after, let's say they go after LaMarcus Aldridge, who I believe is on top of their list. Now you put Randle off the bench as a rookie, basically second-year rookie, redshirt rookie, and you've got Okafor and Randle and Aldridge, and now you've got that's a very powerful offensive front court. They'd have somewhere in the neighborhood of about $4 or $5 million to go after a point guard. I don't know if that's enough to get a Rajon Rondo or not, but you start filling in the blanks. And is it enough to make the playoffs? Maybe not in the first year, but then the next year the TV deal kicks in. Every team will have a lot of cap room. The Lakers may be able to add another max or two guys, Kevin Durant, whoever it is you want to throw out there. Of course, that's pie in the sky, and the Lakers have big dreams. So far, the last few years, their dreams have been dashed each summer. But you never know. At some point, lightning strikes, and we've seen over the course of history, the Lakers tend to be on the right side of things. So we'll have to wait and see how all this goes. I could make a case for D'Angelo Russell. I still think Okafor, the big guy, is the most likely path.
I have to say, though, you left out one great center that the Lakers had that they won championships with. That was George Mikan, because I covered him. You know, I was around in the 1930s covering basketball. But we should mention it.
Eric, what's the gold record behind you there?
Oh, that's actually my wife's.
Yeah?
She is a singer. She's on the Friday soundtrack with Dr. Dre. Keep their heads ringing.
And there's a bunch of pictures with you with like famous people on the other side, because we like your setting back there.
Oh well, thank you.
Yeah.
It's mostly the wife and the kids. I have 3 daughters, and I'm a blessed man. Let's put it that way. And all my kids play basketball. They're a lot of fun. We've got a point guard, we got a forward, and a center. Well,
you need to get to work with your wife to bring in a small forward and maybe somebody off the bench.
Eric, thanks for your time, man. And basketballinsiders.com and the LA Times, of course, anytime if you want to read Eric Pincus. Thanks, Eric.
All right, gentlemen.
Have fun the next 2 days.
All right.